Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego. It's time for a surprise live stream. January the 30th, 2025. Yesterday was a good live stream, and I had a lot of questions from folks, and then I was on the live stream for about an hour and a half, and then it was time for me to go get something to eat. But there was still some lingering questions that were going on in the live stream. So here I am back to help you. Okay, now I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you legal advice. I don't work for USCIS, but I got 10 years experience doing this. And my wife is from Venezuela, and she got a green card back in June of last year, and she applies for her 10-year green card next year in March of 2026. And then in March of 2027, she's going to be ready for U.S. citizenship. But we got to make sure her English skills are up to par. I'm pretty sure with President Trump as the new president, he's going to make it a little tougher to become a U.S. citizen, a lot more stringent. You're going to have to know the Constitution, know our history of our country, learn about our government. Nature and culture. Hi, Diego. What's going on, nature and culture? How's your day? How's everybody in your family? Now, I got lots of Mag Pixie Dust ready to go for green cards and visas, and I've got Mountain Dew salutes ready to go for those folks that need a Mountain Dew salute. Especially if you get your green card approved or you get you pass your K1 visa interview at the embassy. Nature and culture, you're good, thanks. Well, that's good to hear. Karina is going out with her friend today. She had a day off from work, so she's going out with her friend from Puerto Rico. Karina's got friends from Puerto Rico, from Peru, from Mexico. She made a bunch of friends. She does. She's such a good personality. She makes friends like that. And then if she has a friend also Moggy from Thailand, and so she's out and about with her friend exploring the neighborhood. And you have a quick question, nature and culture. That's why I'm on the live stream. I am here to help you with your visa questions. Okay? And I'll give you the answer right here. So you don't have to call USCIS. You don't have to be hanging on the phone for 2 hours waiting for USCIS to pick up the phone. I will answer the questions here. Now, if you call an immigration attorney, he'll probably charge you $400 for a 5-minute phone call. I don't know. I mean, that's the going rate in some parts of the country. Nature and culture. What of joining the Army National Guard? If you are a green card holder, if you are a legal permanent resident green card holder, you can join the National Guard so long as you qualify for the requirements of the National Guard. You got to meet certain physical fitness requirements. You got to pass a test, I think. You got to go to boot camp. So you can go in the National Guard with a green card. It's no problem, and it will help you with your citizenship status in the future. It shows your loyalty to the United States. Go join the National Guard, and then maybe they'll put you on the border and help protect our frontiers from all these invading illegal immigrants. Although they've kind of teetered off a little bit now that Trump's in office. Bryant Gonzalez, my friend Diego, we have received the 2-year green card in the mail as of yesterday. Well, Bryant Gonzalez, you get the first Mountain Dew salute of the day, of the morning. Congratulations. Excellent news. Benediction. That's good news. So now you got the 2-year green card. Don't rest on your laurels, okay? You have to keep on collecting evidence for the 10-year green card. So all the stuff that you put in your 2-year green card application, you need to repeat that again, plus 2 years worth of evidence for your 10-year green card, okay? So don't rest. Don't put your feet up. Keep on collecting the evidence. Keep on saving the bank statements. Keep on saving the bills for the services on your house or your apartment. Keep on taking pictures with family and friends. Now what you're going to do is you're going to plan for the next it's going to be 22 months because you have to lift the conditions 3 months before the green card is expired. So Bryant, look on the green card. Look on the green card and look at the expiration date. And you need to go into, I've made a video about it, or you can go into the USCIS calculator, when you need to lift the conditions off of that 2-year green card. Okay? It's very important that you don't forget to do that. Somebody yesterday told me that their friend is over 1 year past lifting the conditions on their 2-year green card. That person is going to get a letter of deportation and will have to go in front of an immigration judge. Okay? Brian Gonzalez. Okay, January 15th, 2027. That's the expiration date, right? Of the 2-year green card. That's the expiration date. Okay. Well, let me see. Let me see if I can figure out what's the earliest you can lift the conditions off of that green card. 1 second. I want to take a look, okay? See what I can find. And I'll give you the date, and you need to write this down because it's very important that you don't mess this up, okay? Let me see here. Date to lift conditions on green card. Okay, we're going to look that up and we're going to find out when you can do it. So you got to remove the conditions on the green card. You got to file Form I-751 within 90 days of the green card expiring. You know that, right? So you're going to have to file 751 plus all of the evidence that you included, okay, when you filed for the 2-year green card. And let's check here. I should be able to give you the date pretty quick. If I can't find it right now, I will do it on my computer for you. So let me come back onto the live stream. There we go. So you saw the video. Okay, so you know how to do it. Okay, well, that's great. But let me give it to you. So January 15th. Now, there's 31 days in January, right? So January 15th, 2027. Okay, January 15th, 2027. So that's going to be 15 days. So let me see. How many days are there in so January? So December and November, 30 plus 31 plus 15 is 76 days. January 15th, 2027, 31 minus 15 is 16 days. And in December and then November, and then November, then October is 108 days, so minus 90, so 18 days into October. So around the 19th of October, 2026, excuse me, the 19th or 20th of October of 2026 is the cutoff date. Let's go with 19 October. I'll write it right here so you can see it. So let's say the 20th of October, 2026, you should be ready. You should have your 10-year green card package ready to go. Okay? And if you don't do that, you got to file I-751. You got to include your marriage certificate, certified copy, pictures over the next 2 years, plus when you started dating each other from when you got married. Include wedding pictures. You want to include about about 20 months worth of electric bill, water bill, or anything that you can get her on your accounts for paying bills. Immigration is looking for that information. They're looking to see how long is your relationship. Is it gonna, they're looking to see what cohabitation you have and what commingling of funds do you have. So on the 20th of October, 2026, you should have your 10-year green card package ready to go. Okay? You should have an album probably like this thick. Go to Office Depot. Go to Office Depot this week or this weekend. Buy some art binders. Get some document protectors. Buy about 200, 300 document protectors and start collecting your evidence. So you get your binder, your office binder. Get it at Walmart, Office Depot, wherever you want to get it. Stick in there about 200 or 300 document protectors, and then start a cover sheet for your 10-year green card application. The cover sheet's going to list all the things that's going to go into this paperwork. So you can start off right off the bat, okay? You can include a copy of the approved, you need to get her green card. make a big copy of it in color, make a copy of the front, and then flip it around and make a copy of the back. Okay, you got to put that in the 10-year green card application. The copy of her green card, front and back, very important. A copy of your passport, the biographic page in color, nice and big. A copy of her passport biographic page, her social security card, absolutely. Put that in there. The marriage certificate. Let me think here. You're going to put her on your health insurance. Okay. So you're going to include the health insurance because it's going to continue up and it's going to keep going. The health insurance, put on the title to your car. Make sure you include the title of your car with both names as joint owners on the RV, on the car, on the motorcycle, whatever, the SUV. All that information is going to go into the 10-year green card application. The stronger the application, the better chance of getting the conditions lifted. Remember, you got 22 months right now, starting from the issue date of your green card, your wife's green card. You got 22 months to start collecting the evidence so that you can get the 10-year green card. When you get the 10-year green card, then you're out of the woods for 10 freaking years. All right? Then you don't have to include all this evidence when you renew a 10-year green card. All you do is renew it, pay the fee, and renew it in 10 years after you get it from the expiration date. Okay? Yeah, now when you filed for the 2-year green card, as you got the 2-year green card, you included a medical exam in there, right? You recertified the vaccinations. You don't have to do that for the 10-year green card. The medical exam is good as of January 2025. January 2025, the medical exam is good for life once you get the 2-year green card. Okay? So that's some information for Bryant there. God is good. Yes, he is. Good. Hi, good morning. My husband is retired 3 years ago, but he has $50,000 yearly income. But this amount is not enough for advancement of status. They suggest us to co-sponsor. I don't understand why. The reason is this. Now, here's what immigration looks at, right? If something was to, well, they're looking at the tax return and how much tax does he pay? Is that $50,000 retirement income taxable income? When he filed his 1040 with the IRS, did he pay taxes on that $50,000 a year? It could be disability. It could be non-taxable income. So immigration is trying to protect you, Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary, for something to happen to your husband or wife. Is there a big age gap between you guys? Having a big age gap between a husband and wife in a green card is not a reason for a denial for a green card, but it could be an RFE for income. Let's suppose that there's a 20-year age gap between the U.S. citizen and the foreign spouse. The 25-year age gap. You're not going to get denied your green card, but if the U.S. citizen is only on retirement income, if he's only on retirement income or she, it's non-taxable. You're going to probably have to get a joint sponsor. So that if something was to happen to the American citizen sponsor, you're protected, Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary, by a joint sponsor, so you can remain in the United States. That's the only reason usually you get an RFE on income is if it's not taxable income or if it's VA disability, or if there's a really massive age gap between the U.S. citizen and the beneficiary. Remember, a big age gap isn't going to block you from getting a green card, but a big age gap could get you an RFE for a joint sponsor, okay, on income. It could happen. So I think I'm pretty cool. I think I'm pretty close in what I'm saying here, right? God is good. There's an age gap between you. His income is non-taxable. He's on retirement. Got to get a joint sponsor. And it's not because immigration doesn't think the income is sufficient. $50,000 a year is more than enough for a family of two. It's more than enough. You have to make, all right, you got to be at 25,550, but I say you got to be at 32, 33, 34,000 taxable income. Now, Brian Gonzalez, where do I send it to? I live in the state of Illinois. Well, the question is, where do you send the application for the 10-year green card? Is that what you're saying? It goes to Elgin, Illinois. It goes to Elgin, Illinois. I have to get, don't worry about that right now. All you got to focus on right now is collecting the evidence for your 10-year green card. That address could change in the next 2 years. Immigration changes stuff around every freaking 6 months. So it goes to Elgin, Illinois right now when you apply for a 10-year green card, but that could change. So don't worry about that until about 6 months before the expiration date on the 2-year green card. God is good. Yes, we're having an age gap of 25 years. That's the reason for the RFE. I know this process like the back of my hand, ladies and gentlemen. I could get a job at USCIS. If you have a big age gap and your husband or wife is in retirement income, okay, then the life expectancy of the U.S. citizen is going to be less than the beneficiary, who's the foreign national. So immigration wants to protect the foreign national from being removed from the country if the husband dies, because our income is not sufficient to cover staying here if the U.S. citizen was to pass away. Now, I'm not saying your husband's going to pass away, okay, but they're preparing for that contingency, okay? Big age gap, on retirement pay, non-taxable income, even if it's $100,000 a year. Once that American citizen sponsor passes on, then what's the beneficiary going to do? Unless she's got an excellent job making 50, 60 grand a year, taxable income. So you got a big age gap. That's the reason for the RFE. The income is more than sufficient, but immigration is protecting you. Okay, they're saying, okay, your husband makes this money, but he's retired. If something happens to him, they want to make sure that you can remain in the United States. So if you get a joint sponsor, the joint sponsor will cover you if something were to happen. It's like insurance for you. Okay? I know it's a pain to have to find a joint sponsor. It's a pain to do it, but you can find one, and you're going to need one. Okay? You can do it. So, hey, and then when you start, once you get the 2-year green card, once you take care of that RFE, the request for further evidence for the joint sponsor, once you take care of it, you get your green card, then you go to work, get a good job, then you start filing taxes with your husband as a joint tax return. Then his income's going to be on there, non-taxable. Your income's going to be on there, taxable. And then you combine the incomes. And then by the time you get to the 10-year green card, you've got 2 years worth of joint tax returns filing together as husband and wife. The income's going to be more than enough, and you're not going to get hit with an RFE. Okay? Brian Gonzalez, where do you send the 10-year green card application to? It goes to Elgin, Illinois. You got it? You already have your 2-year green card, right? You have your 2-year green card, Brian. So you're good. Don't worry about where to send the 10-year green card application at this point, because it could change. Immigration, they change the forms every few months or every 6 months. They repopulate forms. They change addition dates. They change expiration dates on forms. So it's very important that if you're applying for a K-1 visa, that you check for the expiration date on the paperwork. What is probably the number one reason, or number two? It's the number 2 reason that K-1 visas get rejected at the Louisville, Texas, is because you filed the wrong form. You file an expired form. Okay, you fill out the K-1 visa paperwork, the I-129F, 7 months ago. You know you're going to marry this lady or gentleman. So you do the I-129F 6 months ago and stick it in a drawer. That's one thing less you don't have to worry about. And then the expiration date changes, and you don't check to see if the expiration date changed. So you get all your evidence together for your K-1 visa, and you're filing an expired form because you're trying to get ahead of the game. You're putting the cart before the horse. When you file for a K-1 visa, a green card, adjustment of status, you fill out the paperwork, the I-129F, the 485, the 864. You do all the paperwork, like that week. so that you make sure you're not submitting an expired form. People forget to sign the paperwork. They'll fill out their K1 visa paperwork. They forget to sign the form. It's only 13 pages long now, I think. They forget to sign the form. So they don't deny your visa. They just send everything back to you and say you got to resubmit and don't forget to sign the freaking paperwork. Happens all the time. People submit for a green card and they forget to include passport photos. So they get the green card application and there's no photos in there for them to make the green card. So they send everything back to you. Where's the photos? Okay. Bright Gonzalez, are there any other forms besides the 751 you must submit for the renewal of the 2-year green card? That's it. One form, 11 pages long, USCIS form 751. USCIS form 751. Or it's I-751, probably I-751. Just one form, 11 pages long. It's easy. It's an easy form to fill out. And it's a joint form. The I-751, when you lift the conditions off your 2-year green card for the 10-year green card, you are filing the I-751. It's a joint application. What does that mean? Well, it's when you filed for the K1 visa, the sponsor signed the paperwork. When you filed for the 2-year green card, the sponsor signed the affidavit of support, and the beneficiary signed the 485, and the doctor signed, the civil surgeon signed the 693. But when you lift the conditions off that 2-year green card, you are applying together as man and wife to lift those conditions. So you both have to sign the form. The beneficiary signs over on this page, and the sponsor signs over on this page. Okay? I made a video on how to fill out USCIS form I-751. I made a video how to do it. It's about 11 minutes long, or you can call an immigration attorney and have them do it for you. And they'll charge you, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, who knows? But if you watch the video I made on the 751 and on how to lift the conditions off a 2-year green card, you can watch it, and it doesn't cost you a penny. It's for free. This channel's for free. This is a free place. This is a place to go for free information on how to do this. Okay? Now, I don't know if immigration attorneys do a good job or bad job. They mostly do a good job, I'm sure. There's some that do a bad job, and then it screws up your whole package, costs you time, and then you're out $2,000 or $3,000 freaking dollars. You don't have to hire anybody to do this. The only time you really need an immigration attorney in a K1 visa application is if you have a criminal record, Mr. Sponsor. If you are a U.S. citizen, you got to be a U.S. citizen, and you have a criminal record, go to the courthouse, have the clerk of the court give you a certified copy of all your criminal records, have them print them off, start a consultation with an immigration attorney, go to the immigration attorney with all your criminal records and say, hey, check this out. Do I qualify for the K1 visa? Yes or no? And then he's going to charge you $400 or $500 or $1,000, I don't know, for that consultation. Once you know if you qualify, then you can come home and do your K1 visa by yourself. Watch the videos that I've made. So instead of paying $4,000 or $5,000 an immigration attorney, if you have a criminal record, pay for a consultation. You might even be able to get a free consultation if the immigration attorney thinks you're going to pay him a bunch of money. Go to the consultation and get your criminal record evaluated. If you don't qualify for the K1 visa, don't even apply for it. It's like you'll get denied anyway. Okay? God is good. Thanks for your information. That's why I'm here. God is good. I'm here for you. As soon as you told me you got an RFE for income and your husband makes $50,000 a year, I automatically knew there was a big age gap and there was retirement involved. I knew already. You didn't even have to tell me that. And then you told me there's 25-year age gap. Well, there's a big age gap between Karina and I, but I was working fully when I applied for the K1 visa. I was working fully working. So I didn't have, the immigration wasn't concerned. Okay. But I'm retired now. I'm retired. Karina got her green card in her hand. I'm like, okay, I can retire now. That's what I did. Now Karina's working full time. She's making good money. When we file for our taxes, I'm just waiting on the bank to send me my interest for the. When we're going to do a joint tax return, I'll do the paperwork this month. I'll show Karina how to fill out the 1040, and then we'll file my taxes and actually our taxes in April and pay our taxes, and both our names will be on the tax return, and the income is going to be way up there as a joint tax return with W-2s and 1099s. But if it was just me working, or if it was just me right now, let's supposing it was just me totally retired, okay, although my military income is taxable income. So I would probably be okay. I would be probably, I'm just fine. But if your income is not taxable and you're a DA, you're a disabled vet on VA disability, making good retirement check, but it's not taxable, get a joint sponsor. Brad Gonzalez, thank you for all that. Priyanka. Shervinas, Priyanka in Michigan, right? You got married in where? You got married in Utah, then you moved to Alabama. Now you're in Michigan and you went to Sweden on vacation, or you went to Sweden on for work, right? And I helped you leave the country for your work in Sweden and then got you back without any problems. Priyanka, hello, Diego. I hit a deer with my car today. I was within the speed limit. I processed the incident with the police officer to claim the insurance. Do I have to document this with my 10-year green card application? No. Did the police officer write you a ticket for reckless driving? Did the police officer write you a ticket for endangering the deer? For killing wildlife? Did you get a ticket? Did you get cited for it? You didn't, right? It was a freaking accident. The deer wasn't watching where he was going. No, Diego, police officer didn't write a ticket. You don't have to fight, then you don't worry about it. You're good. It wasn't your fault. Okay? But if you were if somebody gets in a car who's a green card holder and they go and cause an accident that kills somebody or creates injury, or they get a DUI, or they leave the scene of an accident, if somebody acts stupid in a car and gets cited for a DUI or a criminal citation, it's a misdemeanor probably for some of those things. Immigration is going to hear about it. You don't even have to report it. The police are going to report it to ICE. They're going to know already. So if you get into it, let's suppose you get into a car accident. Boom, accident happened, right? And it wasn't your fault. Beneficiary, the green card holder gets into a car accident on the interstate. It's not your fault. It's the other person's fault. And the police officer writes the other person a ticket for whatever. You're good, green card holder. You just don't want to be behind the wheel of a car and you be the one that gets in trouble, because then you're going to have a problem with immigration, depending on the severity of the accident. If you're driving drunk, if you're a green card holder and you're drunk driving and you kill somebody, you're going to get prosecuted by the state or the district where you live first, and then immigration is going to they're going to put you on an ICE hold or ICE retainer, and then ICE is except for California and New York, those are the two districts, the states that protect illegal immigrants and criminals. If you get into an accident and kill somebody and you're a green card holder and it's your fault, if it happens in Florida, you're going to be prosecuted, and then ICE is going to be notified, and then you're going to be deported, and your green card will be gone. So the police officer didn't write you a ticket, so the police officer processed the paperwork for the insurance claim and said, I'm good to go. And that's what I just said. You're good to go. You didn't do anything wrong. Hopefully the deer wasn't badly injured, but it was the deer's fault. Well, really, where I live here, when I leave the subdivision, sometimes deer run across the road. And I was driving with Karina down the road last month, and all these deer stuck their heads out of the bushes of the trees, and they were looking around like this. And Karina told me, hey, look, over there, look, in Spanish. Look at those deer. I said, yeah, there's deer in the woods here, and there's bears. down in the south part of the county. There's bears live in the woods. Okay, black bears. They like to go dig around. People in south where I live, in the south of the county, people, when they throw their trash in the trash can, like if they have a big roast chicken from Walmart and they throw the bones in the trash can, the bears will smell it and come and knock over the trash can and try to get into the trash can. And there's deer all over this part of town. So the deer ran into the bushes. Well, that's good to know. So you didn't get a ticket. You got to file a claim on the insurance, so you get the car fixed, and the deer is okay, and you're okay. So that's a good news all around. So let's put a bunch of mega pixie dust all over the deer, so the deer can go and continue its life. And a Mountain Dew salute to Priyanka for doing the right thing and following due process and not failing not to report the incident. If you're a green card holder and you get into a traffic accident, accidentally, you have an accident. Stuff happens. And you leave the scene of the accident because you're scared. I'm a green card holder. Oh my, I can't let immigration know about this accident. And you leave the scene of the accident. You're done. Your green card's going to be revoked. But if you get into an accident and you stick around and wait for the police to show up, and you file a police report, and even if it was your fault and it was just minor damage to the car, nothing's going to happen to you. Immigration's going to not mess with you. They'll leave you alone. The problem comes when you try to run from the accident. Run from the scene is a big mistake. Let me see. Maru, what's going on? Hello, Diego. What's going on, Maru? And Brian Gonzalez, congratulations on retirement. I can't retire. I can't do it. I got to find something. I do the YouTube channel for you guys, and there's a lot of work that goes involved. When I make a video, there's a ton of work that goes into doing that, which you probably don't see. But behind the scenes, it could take me 4 or 5, 6 hours to make one video. Okay, so that to me is a day's work, and I'm at my house, so I don't have to burn any gas, and if I get hungry, I can go to the fridge. But it can take anywhere from 3 hours to 8 hours for me to make a good video for you guys. So I consider that work. And Karina, she works with her job. And then I got, retirement. Let me see here. Brian Gonzalez, congratulations on retirement. Well, thanks, but it's boring. I'd rather be working. I'd rather be closing deals on a Mercedes-Benz than sitting around the house. But I'm going to create a coffee business for Karina. I've already got that in the works. Okay, Karina and I, we learned about the coffee business living in Colombia. I lived in Colombia almost 3 years. So we went to these coffee farms in the Coffee Triangle, and Karina and I were picking the coffee beans, and then we went with the big bag of coffee beans, and then we put them in this other thing where they washed them, and then we dried them, and then we dried them out. And then we went through the whole process from bean to coffee in a packet. And this Colombian coffee company where we went to, I looked at the coffee bags. The design was beautiful. So I created a design for Karina. Oh, she did. Right here. So this is the design for Karina's coffee right here. There you go. That picture is actually of Karina in a Mexican hat in Montserrat, in Colombia. So Karina didn't know how to start a company here. She's from Venezuela. She had no clue. So I helped to put a company together that's going to sell coffee. And what I like about selling the coffee is you don't have to have a license. Like if you sell food, you got to have some kind of a license, a food license. It's not considered food. It's considered dry and non-contamination that doesn't expire. So it's an easy thing to do. So I'm just waiting on the company in New York and my contacts in Colombia. My contacts in Colombia and a company in New York and myself and Karina, we're all working together to get this started for Karina. So soon she'll have coffee bags with that design on it. I think it's pretty neat. Right there. I don't know. Karina Ross Coffee Company. The only thing we have to do is file a fictitious name with the state of Florida. Then I'll have bags of coffee stacked up on here. And I bet you Karina's going to start giving coffee away to you guys. She'll say, hey, who wants some coffee? And she'll give it to you. We're not going to sell it on a YouTube channel. Okay, she's going to do that marketing privately. But we'll give it away to you guys. So no police officer with Priyanka. The deer's okay. Everything's good. And Brent Gonzalez, my wife should be able to travel abroad and work in the USA with the 2-year green card. Correct. Yes. But there are things to remember on a 2-year green card. It is a conditional green card. Just pretend that you have an ankle bracelet around your ankle, beneficiary, and the government is tracking you everywhere you go for the next 2 years. They want to know what you're doing, where you're going, where you're working. Are you still together, living together? Remember, immigration can come and knock on your door at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 months after you get your green card, to see if you guys are actually living together. It could happen. You could be in bed with your wife sleeping, and there's a knock on the door at 5 o'clock in the morning, and you get, who the heck is that? And you get up, and it's 2 immigration officers. Hey Diego, we're just checking in. Where's Karina? Oh, she's sleeping. Oh, okay. And then I'll invite them in and ask them if they want to try some of Karina's new coffee. And they'll see that we're together, and then they'll leave. I mean, it could happen, right? If you travel on a 2-year green card, you still have the ankle bracelet on your ankle, Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary. The government's going to know that you left the country. You're not a U.S. citizen. You're on a conditional green card. Make sure you bring with you all the evidence that you are in a relationship with your husband or wife if you decide to leave the country on vacation. Let's suppose in Karina, she has her 2-year green card. Let's suppose we go to Colombia for a week's vacation or 2 weeks. We will bring with us our marriage certificate, Karina's driver's license from Florida, her name on the last tax return, which will be this year. For last year, our last tax return, pictures of us together, her name on the electric bill, the water bill, the trash bill. That information will be traveling with us in our carry-on. So when we come back from Colombia, from our 2-week vacation, if the Border Patrol officer says to Karina, hey, you just got your green card. Why are you in Colombia? I went to see my brothers. All my brothers live in Colombia because Venezuela sucks right now, because it's ran by communists. Okay. And this is your husband, Diego? Yes, this is my husband, Diego. Okay, can you prove it? Sure. Here's my marriage certificate. Here's our last tax return. Here's pictures of us together 3 or 4 years ago. Here's my Florida driver's license. Okay, welcome back to America. If you travel overseas on a 2-year green card and you stay longer than 6 months, the Border Patrol officer could block your entry back into the country. If you leave the United States on a 2-year green card and you're gone for 365 days, you will lose your green card when you try to return back to America. So let's suppose grandma gets real sick and she's in the hospital, and you're on a 2-year green card and you leave America, you go to Australia or wherever grandma lives, and she wants you to stay with her for a year to help her with her medical condition. Grandma passes away, goes to heaven. You help with the funeral, and it took a year to do all that. Your green card will already be blocked and revoked. So if you get on a plane and fly back to the United States on a 2-year green card and you've been out of the country for a year, you won't be allowed back in the country. And then they're going to ask you for your green card. Here's my green card. I'm a green card holder. You need to return that back to the U.S. government. If you're a 2-year green card holder, you can go on vacation for 2 weeks, but don't go any longer than that. Okay? Because when you go for the 10-year green card and when you go for the U.S. citizenship, when you file Form N-400 to file for U.S. citizenship, when you go to your citizenship interview, the first thing they're going to ask you is, have you been a permanent resident of the United States, or do you have broken residency? What does broken residency mean? It means you left the country and went on vacation. Oh, well, I went to the Philippines for 2 weeks to see grandma. Oh, okay. Well, you can do that, but you broke your residency. Be careful on a 2-year green card leaving the country. Don't go past, I would say the maximum you should go on vacation is a month, and that's it. No, don't go any longer than that, because you're going to run into trouble at the U.S. citizenship processing. You may not even get your 10-year green card, and you won't get your 10-year green card if you leave the country for longer than a year. And let's see here. So, Maru, what's going on, Maru? Where are you at in the process? What country? I like it when you all check in and stop by the live stream and try to. I know Priyanka is in Michigan. Just remind everybody which country you're from. Like Karina, my wife is from Venezuela. She lived in Colombia for 6 years. I dated her in Colombia. If it wasn't for that communist dictator Maduro, we never would have met each other. Seriously. So I'm grateful to Maduro, even though I can't stand him, even though I think he's a despicable human being because of the way he treats Venezuelans. If it wasn't for him, Karina wouldn't be in Colombia. If it wasn't for him, I never would have met her. And we never would have started dating. And we wouldn't have got married. So everything happens in your life for a reason, right? Whenever something happens, there's a reason. It's like you're living a story. Your life is like a story that's already planned out for you. Okay? I had no idea that I would meet Karina and marry somebody from Venezuela. I was, happy being single. But I had I don't know what I can say, but I had a message sent to me to go find somebody. And there she was. And the first time I met her was in Bogota at the airport, in El Dorado International Airport. Ray Ramirez, hi Diego. If we just received the NOA2 letter, when can we expect to set my interview appointment for my fiance from Mexico? Well, your appointment's going to be at the consulate in Ciudad Juarez. And with Mexico right now, the consulate is setting the interviews for beneficiaries in Mexico. Okay, it's one of only a few countries. 99% of all K1 visa interviews are scheduled by the sponsor or the beneficiary. But in Mexico, the consulate will set the interview for you, and you got your NOA2 letter. So you're looking at about another, I would say 8 months max for Mexico. Now that the Border Patrol officers and the immigration folks are no longer processing all these bogus asylum cases for all these bogus people trying to sneak in our country by the million, now that Trump has blocked the frickin' frontier with Mexico pretty much, other than if you have a K1 visa, a spousal visa, or a tourist visa, or a U.S. citizen, basically he shut the border down from all these illegals sneaking in. The Border Patrol can now, and the immigration folks can concentrate on helping people like Ray Ramirez. They can focus their attention on helping your fiancée get her visa appointment at the embassy, get her into the United States legally. So we're going to put a bunch of MAGA pixie dust on Ray Ramirez. Now he's got his NOA2 letter. You get a Mountain Dew salute for the NOA2 letter. Now, don't lose that NOA2 letter. You need that NOA2 letter for the visa interview at the embassy, at the consulate in Ciudad Juarez, Ciudad. I think that's how you say it. You need the NOA2 letter for the visa interview. You need the NOA2 letter. You have to include it in the 2-year green card application. So you're going to need it twice. On the NOA2 letter is your fiance's alien registration number. Look, Ray Ramirez, look on the NOA2 letter. Look under her name, by her name, there's the alien number there. You're going to need that alien registration number for the USCIS form I-134, Declaration of Financial Support, which you're going to have to fill out and get it to your fiancé in Mexico, the original I-134. I would give it about 8 months, Ray. So we're in January. So by the end of the summer, things should start moving. But hopefully things will get moving a little quicker for you now that the immigration folks and the Border Patrol don't have to waste their time on taking appointments off of a freaking app on a phone for an asylum seeker that just wants to move to the United States so they can get into a better lifestyle and not because they're scared for their life. I've been to Mexico lots of times. Okay. I think it's a beautiful country. I mean, and Americans live in Mexico. So why would people who live in Mexico say, they want to move to America because of the fear for their life? I don't know. But I have no problems with Mexico. I think it's a beautiful place. I would live there. The weather's beautiful. So it's just an economic excuse. That's all. It's an economic excuse. Well, Trump has stopped all that baloney. Now, if you are a real asylum seeker with a threat to your life, okay, then you're going to get evaluated by immigration, and Trump is not going to stop you from coming here. Unless you are from, let's say, Afghanistan, and you are seeking asylum in the United States. Trump said, or the Department of State said, they can't evaluate people from Afghanistan because there's no documents. There's no buildings that they can go and check for the vetting of these people. So if you're in Afghanistan right now trying to seek asylum, you can pretty much forget about it. But if you are from Afghanistan and you are seeking a K-1 visa with a U.S. citizen sponsor, you're okay. If you're from Iran and you're in a K-1 visa application with an American, you're okay. You'll probably get a 221G for an extra security screen, but that's about it. So relax. You're not going to be blocked from, like when Trump blocked visas for Colombians coming to America because Petro, the communist dictator, refused to let us return their Colombian citizens. He blocked all visas for Colombian government officials and Colombians who support Petro. He didn't stop K-1 visa applications or spousal visa applications. Priyanka, I am from India. I worked in Sweden for 6 years. Wow, how about that? And I moved to the United States in 2023. I remember my husband and I got married in Kansas. I thought it was Utah, Kansas. Moved to Alabama. And now my husband and I living under the same roof in Michigan. Now, Michigan's going to be nice there. They got the Lake Michigan, beautiful place. You're going to have a blast in the summertime in Michigan. Let's see. Brian Gonzalez, congratulations, Ray. Keep it up, my friend. Yeah, let's do it. Another Mountain Dew salute, okay? And for Brian, for Ray, and everybody. Maru, my fiance, he is in Cameroon. Okay, beautiful Cameroon. I am putting together the K-1 visa application now. You are in Houston, Texas. Okay, Maru, let's go over your K-1 visa application. Do you have boarding passes and plane tickets when you went to visit him in Cameroon? Do you have that? Do you have pictures of the visa stamps when you were in Cameroon? Because you got to apply for a visa to go to Cameroon, right? Do you have lots and lots and lots of pictures together with his family and friends in Cameroon? Do you have receipts from dinner dates together at the beautiful restaurants in Cameroon? The food in Cameroon is awesome. Do you have all this evidence of WhatsApp chats, emails, Facebook Messenger chats, however you communicate? Are you printing those communications? Do you have all those proof of communications for your K-1 visa application? When you fill out the USCIS form I-129F, make sure you put in there the correct passport number. Spell the name correctly. Make sure you don't make any mistakes on his date of birth or his passport number. Some people, they'll see a passport number like there was a passport number 0056 and they put in there as 5600. The whole package will come back to you. So pay close attention to details when you fill out the I-129F. Don't forget to sign it. When you sign the form, sign your full name. First name, middle name, last name. In cursive so immigration can read it. If you sign like a doctor, like I do, DR, okay? The first time I applied for a This was for the spousal visa back on my first turnaround. Immigration sent everything back to me. They said, we can't read your signature. I learned a big lesson. When you sign your name on any document for immigration, you sign your first name, middle name, and last name in beautiful cursive so immigration can read it, so you don't get that problem. Let's see here. So Cameroon, good job. And Brownie, RSPS, oh, a morning stream. Hello, Diego. Brownie, now you're in the United States now, right? But you started your green card, your K1 visa processing was in England. You went to the scary visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in London. It was probably raining. It was probably cold. It was a dreary day. But you left and you went and got some fish and chips, right, and pickled onion. And then you got your K1 visa in your British passport. You flew to the United States, and everything's rocking and rolling. Brian Gonzalez, upon when can my wife begin the citizenship process? 3 years from the issue date on her 2-year green card. So look at her 2-year green card. What's the issue date on the 2-year green card? 3 years from the issue date is when she can start doing the paperwork for U.S. citizenship. Minus 3 months. I believe there's a 3-month window of time. So there's 36 months in 3 years. So at the 33-month window of time from the issue date on the 2-year green card is when you can start the paperwork for the U.S. citizenship. Now, I just bought Karina. Now, don't tell her this, okay? Because she's not here. She's out with her friend from Puerto Rico. I bought her a big, thick book in Spanish on how to become a U.S. citizen. And it's going to be here today. I bought it on Amazon. So I'm glad she's out with her friend, because when it gets here, it'll be a surprise for her. I bought her a book on how to prepare to become a U.S. citizen. And it's in Spanish, but by the time she goes to her citizenship test, she better be speaking English. If her English isn't up to par, I'm not going to have her go for U.S. citizenship. It's because they'll deny it if she can't speak or read or write English. So over the last year, she's done pretty good. She's learned a lot of English, but you got to be able to speak, read, and write English when you go for U.S. citizenship. So greetings, Brownie. Let me see. When can we start processing the visa for her parents? Brian, can we start processing visa for her parents? When she's a U.S. citizen, if you don't want to wait forever, when she becomes a U.S. citizen, when Karina becomes a U.S. citizen, we're probably going to bring our mom over here from Venezuela. We're going to get her out of that freaking dumpster fire, unless Trump helps get rid of Maduro before then. If Maduro is no longer president of Venezuela, then her mom is probably going to just stay in her house in Venezuela. But if Venezuela continues to be under a dictatorship from that freaking bus driver, Maduro, who doesn't, then we're going to bring her here. When Karina becomes a U.S. citizen, then she's going to help. I'll fill out the form, the I-130, and help her bring her mom here. Being a U.S. citizen, when the beneficiary becomes a U.S. citizen, that's the time to do that. Okay, to bring mom over. And it's an I-130. It probably takes about a year to less than that. It's a 1-year process to bring mom over, but don't do it until your wife's a U.S. citizen. Then she won't have a long delay, because you're a U.S. citizen, Brian. Your wife will be a U.S. citizen. 2 American citizens applying for mom. What can go wrong? Nothing, unless you mess up the paperwork. You can bring her parents over, but wait till she's a citizen. And you got to make sure your income is going to cover the household size. So you got your wife, and then you're going to bring both parents over. So that will be 4 people. So your income for 4 people is going to have to be whatever it is for 4 people. Let me see. As of right now, it will be $39,000 a year, but add $5,000 to that, $45,000, $50,000 a year. You're going to want to be making to bring both parents over. You want to be making about $45,000 a year. Let me see. Brownie, it was cold, and to be honest, the people at London were lovely people. Yeah, the folks at the embassy in London are beautiful people, lovely, very polite, very nice people. I mean, I've been to England. I went to England in July of 96 for 30 days for a vacation. And it freaking rained every day. I was like, what the heck? It was like 60 degrees and raining every freaking day in July of 1996. I won't forget it. But it's okay. England's a great place. I miss the fish and chips. I ate fish and chips every day, and I ate a whole box of Jaffa cakes every day when I was in England. Let's see, Maru. Yes, I have all the 3 boarding passes, pictures, visa stamps, but it was hard to get receipts from the restaurant since that most were handwritten. It doesn't matter if the receipts are handwritten. You got to include them in the visa package for the K1. Okay? What you can do is get the handwritten receipt, tape it to a piece of blank white paper, and then identify what the restaurant was, where it was, and the day you went out on a date. I took Karina to probably every steakhouse I could find in Bogota. We tried different restaurants. And remember, I was there for let me see, 5-6 months before I came back and filed for the K1. So I had about 20 dinner dates with her, 30 dinner dates, 30 different restaurants. I used my credit card. They printed the receipt for me. And I put the receipt on a piece of white paper, and I said, this was a dinner date at the Peruvian restaurant in the Castile district of Bogota, or whatever. And I had all this evidence for the K1, dinner dates, pictures with her friends and family. My name went on the rent receipts. When I started dating Karina, she lived in a little small apartment in Bogota. There wasn't enough room in there to swing a cat, but it was just her, and so she didn't need a big place. She just needed a kitchen, a bathroom, a bedroom, and a place to sit and watch TV. So it was a small. I said, "There's no room in this apartment." So I came back to the United States. I called Karina up and said, "Hey, go find a big apartment." She said, "Well, how big?" I said, "I don't know. Find a penthouse somewhere. Find the top floor of a edificio, and tell me how much it is, and I'll rent the place." So she went out and she found this big apartment, and she made a video on her cell phone and sent it to me. And I looked at it and I said, "Okay, who's the person running the show here?" She said, "Mr. Senor Fernando." I said, "Okay, tell him you're going to rent it so nobody else takes it." She said, "Well, I need this, I need this." I said, "Okay, you need furniture, you need a bed, you need a living room suite." I sent her the money. She was working and she could have bought this stuff herself. But I said, "No, I'm going to pay for this, because then I have receipts that I am buying furniture for our apartment." Commingling of funds. It's proof of the relationship. So when I filed for the K1 visa, I put the receipts from where I bought the bed, where I even bought a big clock for the wall. I don't know, it was like $5 or $3. I put the receipt for that in there. Then I talked to Mr. Fernando. I said, "Hey, put me on the lease. Put me on this rental." He said, "Okay." So when I was in Colombia with Karina, every month we paid the rent in cash. I put my name on the receipt for the rent, and she put her name under it. I collected all these receipts for the rent, and that went in the K1 visa application. It's a lot of work, guys. A K1 visa is a lot of freaking work. But if you are in love with somebody, you do what you got to do. Let me see here. Bryant says, "Okay." Nina Balin. "Hi, Diego. Do you have an updated version on how to fill out the form 864? Yeah, I do. Just go into the channel and type in I-864. And it's the latest and greatest video for the affidavit of support. And if you have any questions on the affidavit of support, I'll answer them right here for you right now. Priyanka, just be sure I don't have to document this deer incident for my 10-year green card. Well, you can if you want. You can say that a deer ran into you when you were driving, and that there was no ticket citations. Nobody, you can if you want to, but you don't have to. But if it makes you feel better, you can. Immigration isn't going to ding you because of a deer hitting your car, unless the deer was an illegal immigrant. I'm kidding. Of course, the deer is not an illegal immigrant. No, Priyanka, you don't have to include it in your in your 10-year green card application. But if you want to, if you don't feel comfortable, if you want to be open book, you can include it. But immigration is only concerned about misdemeanors and felonies, not deer running into your car. Now, if it was your fault, if you were in the trees looking for deer in your car, chasing the deer down, and you ran the deer over on purpose, and the police wrote you a mistreatment of animals citation, you'd have problems with immigration. But it was just an accident, and nobody was hurt, and the deer took off, and the police didn't give you a citation, and you get your car fixed. If you want to include it in the green card application, go ahead. You can do it, but make sure you put it on the cover sheet. When you fill out a cover sheet for your 10-year green card, you're going to put on here, incident with the deer. And then write an explanation. A deer ran into my car. It wasn't my fault. I reported the incident to the police. They said, okay, that covered you for the insurance, so you can get your car fixed. And then sign your full name. First name, middle name, last name, and date it. And that will cover you. But you don't have to do that. But if you want to, go ahead. Okay, let's see here. Brownie RSPS. It's so funny. We're so used to the rain, it doesn't make us miserable. I wasn't miserable in the rain. I was just sick and tired of getting wet socks and carrying an umbrella around. When I'm a tourist somewhere, I don't want to be carrying an umbrella around. I want to just be carrying my camera. But then I'm carrying an umbrella trying to stop the camera lens from getting wet. My feet get wet. Then rain in Florida, it rains a lot too. In August, it rains a bunch. It is what it is. But England's a beautiful place, and I had a great time. I went everywhere. Madame Tussauds, Tower of London, the Crown Jewels. I saw the Crown Jewels. What else? I didn't see the changing of the guard. That was to me was just boring. Who wants this? I'm in the military. I was in the Navy. I mean, I don't want to see a bunch of military guys walking around. I do that. I see that every day when I was in the Navy. So I didn't see the changing of the guard, but I wish I had. So now I'm thinking I'll take Corinna to England in the future, just so we can see the changing of the guard. Let me see here. Nina Balin on the Form I-485, page 9. Okay, page 9 of the Form 485. Part 4, the question, if unemployed or retired, source of financial support. Your sponsor. I was not working. No, your sponsor. My fiance was helping me. What should be my answer? Your fiance. That's correct. Page, let me see here. Page 9, part 4. Well, here's the latest and greatest right here. Page 9, part 4. Additional information about you, address of employer. You can put in there, if you were unemployed, you put unemployed. You can put unemployed. And they ask you information about your parents is next on that. And in additional information, employment and educational history. Immigration is more concerned about your education than they are about whether you were working or not. Okay? Now, it says here on page 8, number 7, part 4, who's your employer or your school? Right? What's the name of your employer? If you're not working, you just put unemployed. So right here it says if unemployed or retired, so stay. So just put unemployed. But do you have an occupation in the past? Do you have a trade degree, a certificate or a degree? Like Corinna she was in college. She went to university in Caracas, Venezuela. She has a degree in tax accounting. Okay. So, but she wasn't working as a tax accountant in Colombia. She was the manager of 5 ice cream stores. So she put in here the name of her employer, and her occupation was manager. It all depends. If you're unemployed, just put unemployed. It's not going to hurt you. Immigration don't care if you're unemployed. And if you're living in, I don't know, if you're in Peru and you're unemployed, immigration say, okay, when you get to the United States, you're going to get a green card. You can get a job. You may be at home. You may be taking care of family stuff. Let me see here. Your answer will be unemployed, Nina Balin. And it's not don't worry, it's not gonna hurt you on getting the green card. Brownie RSPS. Oh, and speaking of, I'm on the release for the rent. Oh, Mountain Dew salute. Still waiting on the marriage certificate. That's crazy. That's too long. You got photos of your wedding, the dinner at Christmas, the Christmas service, and plenty of other photos with your wife and her family. When you file for a 2-year green card, you want to show pictures starting when you first started dating each other, right? All the way up to the day before you filed for the green card. When we filed for Karina's 2-year green card, we had pictures from 2021 when we first started dating each other in Colombia, 2022 when I was, let me see here, in Colombia for almost a year. 2023, I was back in the United States for almost a year, but I went back in October of 2023 when I had scheduled her visa interview and her biometrics in Bogota. And then when she came to the United States, I had pictures of her at Miami airport, pictures of her eating lunch with me and family. We went, we had 4 years worth of pictures. So immigration, when they opened up her green card package for her 2-year green card, they could say, oh, these guys have been together for 4 years. That's a good long time. They dated for 3 years before, and then married, or whatever. It's a long time. Let me see here. Brownie RSPS plus friends. Yeah, pictures with friends is important. But don't forget to include the names of the people and the date and the place the photo was taken. Nina Balin, the form I-485, where I have to sign, do type out my full name plus sign it. Okay, let's go to the signature page on the 485. Right? The signature page is right back here. And we're going to make sure you don't mess this up so it doesn't get problems. Now, let me see. On page 22, listen, Nina, on page 22 of 24, the applicant's signature, which is you, goes right here. So right here, right, on applicant's signature, you're going to do in the best cursive, your first name, your middle name, and your last name, and then you're going to date it month, day, year. Beautiful cursive. Don't do like I did in the past and just do like D, although this wasn't for me. I'm talking about for the K1 visa application or the spousal visa. Because Karina, my second wife, my first wife was come from Colombia, and it didn't work out. She didn't like America. She didn't like to learn to drive. She didn't like this. She didn't like that. She didn't like the food. She didn't like the clothes. There was nothing that she liked about the United States. So I went through this K1 visa process in 2014, a long time ago. So I went through the K1 visa process, brought her to America from Colombia. She didn't like it. I said, okay. So I took her back to Colombia. I didn't divorce her at that point. I can do that. I said, I'll do that later. I just want to get you back home with your family because you're just unhappy living in America. She said, okay. I took her back to her home with her mom. And then she said, oh, I want to come back to America. I said, you left the country. Okay. And it's been 7 months. It's 9 months. You've been gone. Almost a year. Your green card's no good. You can't use the green card to come back because it was 9 months, I think, 10 months. And she said, oh, darn. I said, yeah, you don't like America. I took you home. Now you want to come back. Your green card's no good. So I had to file for a spousal visa. We're talking back in 2016, 2015. So I filed for the spousal visa. I got it approved. But that was like when, visas were pretty quick. I got the spousal visa approved. And then I got a letter in the mail saying she was being processed for deportation because she didn't lift the conditions off of her 2-year green card. Here's a letter from the immigration. Your wife's being processed for deportation. I'm like, well, that's good luck with that. She's already in freaking Colombia and she's already got her spousal visa approved. So I wrote a letter to immigration and I said, hey, Good luck with this, okay? My wife is in Colombia, and and then I included a copy of the spousal visa approval I-797, and they said, "Oh, okay." So they didn't. They dismissed the deportation charge because they already gave her permission to come back on a spousal visa. So I got the spousal visa approved. I got the visa interview scheduled via the National Visa Center. The National Visa Center scheduled her visa interview at the embassy in Bogota. Okay. I was getting ready to fly to Bogota to go to the visa interview, and she called me up. She said, "No, I've decided I want to live in Colombia." Now we're in 2017. So I went through 3 years of total crap with this lady at great expense and 10 trips to Colombia. And then she says she doesn't want the visa after 3 years of me doing all this freaking legwork. So I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am very familiar on how to process a K-1 visa and a spousal visa. I went and found a family attorney, a lawyer, and this is when I brought in the attorney, the family lawyer in Medellin. I called him up. I said, "Hey, I want you to serve papers on this lady. She's been jerking me around for 3 years." He said, "No problem." He served her divorce papers because she didn't want a divorce. She wanted to stay married to me, and she was in Colombia and I was here. "Oh yeah, let's see how that works out for you." I did a Zoom call with the judge because of COVID. We couldn't go into the courthouse. She didn't show up for the Zoom call. The judge said, "Where's your wife?" I said she didn't want to show up for the Zoom call. The judge said, "Okay, your divorce is granted by default." And 2 weeks later, I went into the courthouse and got my certified copy of the divorce decree from my Colombian wife, who jacked me around for 3 years. But I'm not angry at her. I mean, I'm really not. How can you be angry at somebody? They come to a strange country. They're scared. They don't know how to drive. They just didn't fit. They didn't fit. She was not fitting here. She would not make it here. So I took her home because it was the right thing to do. And then when she said she didn't want a divorce, she wanted to come back, I started the process and I got her approved on a spousal. That was a pain in the freaking backside. And I divorced her and I was done. I'm like, I'm staying single. But then I went back and I love Colombia. It's a beautiful country, the beautiful people. And I met Karina. And I did this thing all over again from scratch. And now Karina has her green card. I've done it twice. Let's see here. Priyanka, hello Diego. Do you think it is a good idea to go to India along with my husband for 2 weeks? If you want to, you can take a 2-week vacation to India. It's no problem to do that. But remember, the documents I told you to bring to Sweden with you, bring those to India with you for your vacation. So that way you don't get any hassle coming back into the United States, right? You can go to India, but don't go longer than 2 weeks. 2 weeks is at max. And don't forget, when you apply for the 10-year green card, you're going to have to include information about your trips to India and Sweden. Be upfront, okay? Yasin Sandy, the sponsor, how much does he need each year to sponsor me to apply for the permit for residency? What's the family size? Yasin Balin. Is it a family of 2? Is it just going to be you and him? Or is there any children? What's the family size, Nina? Yasin, if it's a family size of 2, immigration says you got to make $25,550, something like that. Let me see. Family of 2 is $25,550. But in reality, your sponsor needs to make at least $31,000 to $32,000 not to get an RFE for income. Okay? That's how much he needs to make. 31, 32, 33,000 for a family of 2. As of now, January 2025. But that's going to change in March of 2025. In March, there's going to be new numbers out for minimum income requirements. It's going to change. It's going to go up. Let me see here. Nina, do I put my husband's surname because it hasn't changed as yet? Do I put my husband's surname? Did you take your husband's? Now, Nina, explain to me. You came. Did you? Are you the beneficiary or are you the sponsor? Nina, did you take your husband's last name? Did you come to the United States as a beneficiary and take your husband's last name when you got married? Or explain that to me. Give me the answer to that, and I'll give you the answer to your question. Then the next question is, so when do you put the first name, middle name, last name? Do you have to sign it still? I just explained it to you. When you sign the form 485, you have to sign your full name, first name, middle name, last name, and then you date it. You have to sign it so immigration can read it. You're the beneficiary. Okay, so you took your husband's last name, right? So you're going to sign the form. Let's go to page. Let's make sure you don't mess this up. Okay, I'm going to make sure you don't mess this up. You go to page 1 of USCIS form 485. Go to page 1. On page 1, they ask you. They ask you, what is your current legal name? Your current legal name is your husband's last name, your first name, and your middle name, right? That's how that goes. If you took your husband's last name, it's going to be your new last name is right here, your husband's last name. Now, other names used. Other names used, it's going to be your maiden name that you had before you got married, your first name, and your middle name. So on page 1 of USCIS form I-485, your current legal name is your married name, and other names used is your maiden name. Do you understand what I just said? You got it? Now, when you sign the form, you're going to sign the form, your first name, your middle name, and your married last name. Karina took my last name. So when she signed this form, she signed it Karina Ross. When she filled out this paperwork, it was Ross, middle name, Karina. And then she put her maiden name, her first name, Karina, and her middle name. Her maiden name went here, and my name went here, which is now her name. And she signed it, Karina Ross. You got it? Tell me you understand that, Nina. It's not difficult. Don't overthink it. Don't get your mind discombobulated. But can I keep my maiden name along with my husband's name? If you don't want to change your last name, if you want to keep your you got to choose between your maiden name. Well, no, you can do this. You can do this. You can put your family name, which will be hyphenated, your maiden name, and your husband's last name. You can hyphenate it if you want to. Your maiden name hyphenated, your husband's last name, your first name, and your middle name. And then down here, that you'll just put down your maiden name. You can do that if you want to. So you'll have 4 names. You're going to have your first name, your middle name, your maiden name, and your husband's last name. So that's you can do that if you want. It's no problem. You can keep your maiden name with your husband's last name, but you got to hyphenate it. You got it? Come on, let's put some mega pixie dust all over Nina here. She needs some help. Brownie RSPS, you're my number 1 go-to for advice and 100% believe in your knowledge, and I'm grateful for it. Well, that's a Mountain Dew salute, Brownie. There's nothing I don't know about the K1 visa process or the green card application. Like I said, I went through the hard school of learning the first time in 2014. It didn't work out, but I learned a ton of stuff. I filed a K1. I filed a spousal visa. I learned the process to backpedal all that stuff when it didn't work out. I learned the process how to get out of a situation which was not good. And I've got now it's 2025. That was 2014. That's 11 years of experience. 11 years of doing this. I keep saying 10 years. It's 2025. It's now 11 years. Let me see. Aldo Intriago Bergman. Hello, Diego. Hope you are doing okay. I'm great. Is it possible to include assets that are outside of the U.S. on the I-134 form? If you want to, you can do it, but you got to prove ownership. The consular officer at the interview at the embassy may say, prove the ownership of this property that's overseas. Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela, she owns a house in Venezuela. She was a director of accounting for a big company in Caracas. She was the head honcho for accounting. And then the communists took over Venezuela and they shut down all these American businesses, and all this capitalist entrepreneur spirit was decimated by who was it before Maduro? Chavez. Hugo Chavez basically destroyed everything. And Maduro is continuing the process of destroying Venezuela, the economy. Now he's trying to kiss the backside of President Trump because he knows that Trump doesn't play around, and he's going to get a spanking. Maduro. Not in the physical sense, in the political sense. Okay? But Karina has a house in Venezuela, and she gifted it to her mom. She said, Mom, I'm moving to Colombia. I'm not living in Venezuela. I'm not living under this communist garbage. I'm a free person. I'm a conservative entrepreneur. Why do I got to put up with this communist crap? So she relocated legally to Colombia. President Duque gave her asylum for 10 years, conditional asylum. She wasn't crying a victim. I got to get asylum in America. No. She went to Colombia and got asylum for 10 years. Thank goodness for that. So I was able to date her. Okay? She has this big house on a mountainside. Did I include it on the I-134 as assets? No. I didn't waste my time. But you can if you want to. If I had included Karina's house on the assets page of the I-134, which I could have, I would have had to have Karina get original copies of the deed of the house with her name on it. The only way to do that would be to go to Venezuela to her mom and get that paperwork. I said to Karina, look, it's bad enough you got to go into Venezuela to get your passport renewed. Let's not take any chances and go and play that dice in Vegas because you're engaged to an American. So I did. She gave the house to her mom, and we didn't include it. But you can do it if you want to. But you better prove that you own that property, okay? Or assets. So let's supposing you got money in a bank, and let's supposing you got money in a Filipino bank or a Peruvian bank. Your name better be on that bank account, and you got to prove the bank statements. You got to bring them to the interview, okay? Nina, I'm filing the form for them to change it. You're filing in the form for them to change it. When you file for your green card on USCIS form I-485, you change your name from maiden name to married name to American citizen sponsor on page 1. That's a legal document, okay? You can hyphenate your maiden name with your married name of your husband if you want to. Then you're going to get a green card that's going to say Nina, middle name, Balin, hyphenated, husband's last name. Okay? So let's hope there's enough space when you go get a driver's license. If Karina kept all of her names, she'd be Karina, middle name, mom's last name, dad's last name, and my last name. She'd have had 5 freaking names. It should be Karina, middle name, dad's last name, mom's last name, my last name. She would have to get a driver's license that's 2 pages long. So she didn't. She just took my name. She said, I'm going to become an American. I'm going to assimilate. I'm going to become part of this great country and become a citizen. And I no longer have a Hispanic name. Now I've got a European last name. I think my family came from Europe somewhere back in the day. Nina, yes, you can keep your maiden name with your husband's last name. Sam, what's going on, Sam? ¿Cómo estás, Sam? Priyanka, thank you, Diego. I will do that. I will take all the documents needed for your India. Go to India. Listen, go to India and have a fantastic vacation. Okay? And keep all the evidence of your vacation. Get pictures with family and friends in India. Keep the boarding passes of the trip back and forth with your husband. Okay? Because you're going to put that information in your green card application for your 10-year green card. Hey, I took a vacation to India with my husband. Here are the boarding passes. Here are the pictures we took together with family and friends. Here are the receipts from our dinner dates together in India. And the Indian food is delicious. In Pensacola, there's an Indian restaurant there. I'm going to take Karina to eat there. Indian food is muy rico. I love it. Let's see here. Sam says, hi, Nina, but can I keep my maiden name along with my husband's name? Yes, you can. Nina, I got it, Diego. There you go. Mountain Dew salute to Nina. She got it. She understands this. I'm glad you're on the channel today. I just saved you a big headache, right? Elkin Bedoya. Hello, Diego. This is Elkin. Thank you for replying to my inquiry on your other video. Anytime. Could you help me with like an overview for what the process would look like? A dumbed down way, LOL. Well, there are programs for citizen naturalization in the U.S. Navy. Listen, if you are a foreign national, you come to America, you get a green card. Let's suppose Karina decided to join the Navy, the U.S. Navy. The process for U.S. citizenship for her would be free. Okay? If you join the military on a green card, let's suppose you come to the United States as a guy, you're a guy marrying an American, female American, and you join the Army, the Navy, the Marines. The U.S. citizenship process is free. And they have a process in place. They have people in the military that will help you become a U.S. citizen. Okay? They have programs in the military to help you become a citizen, and it's totally free. So you don't have to pay the visa. You don't have to pay the naturalization fee if you join the military. So Elkin, are there programs for citizens naturalization in the Navy? Yes, there are. I was in the United States Navy for 20 years. So I speak with authority on that, and I know that they do have those programs. Aldo Intriago Bergman, a K-1 visa holder can join the Army or the Navy. A K-1 visa holder, no. A green card holder, yes. If you have a K-1 visa in your passport, you can't join the military. If you have a green card and a social security number on a social security card, you can join the military. Now, because you're not a U.S. citizen, you will not be assigned to a job that gives you access to secret, top secret, or confidential information. You will be put in a job that doesn't give you access to that kind of work, that kind of information. Okay? So you can still join the military as a green card holder. You just won't get a security clearance. When you become a U.S. citizen, then you can get a security clearance. Let me see here. Yasin Sandy, the sponsor, how much does he need for each year so he can sponsor me to apply for permanent residency? A family of two, I'm going to say right now he needs to make for a family of two $31,000 to $35,000 a year to avoid an RFE for a joint sponsor. Immigration says you got to make $25,550 for a family of two to qualify. Okay, that's for the green card at 125%. A family of two at 100% is $20,440 for the embassy interview. But if you make between let me go even higher. If you make $35,000 a year or more, you're going to qualify for a green card for a family of two. 35,000 is the magic number without getting an RFE for a joint sponsor. Even though immigration says it's $25,550. And let's suppose you make $26,000 a year and you qualify according to immigration. You're going to be getting an RFE for a joint sponsor. Be about $5,000 above the minimum. Okay. If you can't get above 5,000 above the minimum, get a joint sponsor. Save you a headache. Save you an RFE. Nina, can I take out my middle name? No, your middle name is with you forever. You cannot take out your middle name. It's going to be Nina, middle name, maiden name, husband's last name, hyphenated. You cannot take out your middle name. Well, I mean, you can hire a family law attorney to remove it legally if you want to get rid of it legally, but you got to file paperwork to do that with an attorney. When you file for a green card, if you're going to be, that green card application has to match the passport that you applied, and it has to match the K1 visa name, other than if you change to your husband's last name. If you want to keep your maiden name, you can, but you cannot remove the middle name because it will not match your K1 visa or your passport. Then you won't get a green card. There is naturalization programs in the U.S. Navy if you're a green card holder. Let me see. Elkin. Oh, Diego, I was answering Aldo's question. I'm currently in the Navy. Go good. Will they help me bring my fiance from Colombia? Would they make it faster or easier? No. The only way it would speed up the process, if you're in the United States Navy and you apply for a K1 visa, you're going to be you're going to get in line with everybody else. But if you get orders where you have to deploy somewhere, you can file for an expedite on the K1. But then you're going to have to produce copies of your orders and prove it that you have received orders. Let's suppose you're stationed in Charleston, South Carolina, and you get orders to San Diego. That's going to totally discombobulate your entire K1 visa package. Your address is going to change. Your location is going to change. So you can file for an expedite to speed up the process. Okay? That's the only time. But being in the military is beneficial because you have TRICARE. So you're going to have guaranteed medical insurance for your beneficiary from Colombia. Okay, so let's give a Mountain Dew salute to Elkin, because he's working a visa process for his fiancée in Colombia. I love living in Colombia. I just couldn't stand being in the mountains in Bogota, but I love Colombia when I was at sea level. So Elkin, you understand, right? It's not going to speed up the process if you're in the military for a green card or a K1. It will if you receive orders and you have to transfer from a base to another base. Then they'll expedite it for you. Alex Los Angeles. Alexa, hi Diego, have a good day. Every day. How long does it take to receive a provisional residency green card? Right now, January 2025, 6 to 9 months. Nina, got you, Diego. Well, I'm always smiling, but I get worried if somebody doesn't understand what I explain to them, because I don't want you to screw up your package or your green card application. You cannot change your middle name. You have to do it by an attorney to do that. But you can hyphenate your maiden name with your husband's last name. You can do that. I'm getting messages in the phone here. Everything's good. Okay, guys. Do you have any questions? Do you want me to keep talking? I've been talking for an hour and a half. I got some Mountain Dew left, and I got pixie dust. I can keep talking if you have more questions. If not, maybe I'll just make a video for you guys. Karina's out having fun with her friend from Puerto Rico. And very nice lady. Oh, Karina just won Employee of the Quarter for her where she works. Karina's been in America for a year. She was nominated for Employee of the Quarter. And now the first time up, she was nominated a second time, and she won Employee of the Quarter where she works. So she's going to get a big certificate with her name on it, Karina Ross, Employee of the Quarter, which is 3 months, right? They're going to give her probably a bonus or something. And guess what I'm going to do with that Employee of the Quarter certificate when she gets it? I'm going to make a copy of it. Guess what? I am going to include that Employee of the Quarter certificate in her 10-year green card application. Why would I do that? It shows character. She's a good person. She works her butt off. She is a hardworking person with a big heart and good character. That's what immigration wants to see. They're not going to stop you coming here. They want you to come here and live and start your lives, but you got to be of good character. Elkin Bedoya, my last question. My fiance wants to study and become a vet tech. Based on information I found, she would not be able to work for a while. Will I be able to enroll her at a school? Well, yeah, of course. When Elkin, this is when your fiance gets here from Colombia. The first thing you got to do is get married and get her a social security number before you worry about anything else. Start getting the paperwork together for her 2-year green card. Once you've started collecting the evidence for her 2-year green card, you got her social security number, you got the marriage certificate, you got pictures together, the wedding pictures, the honeymoon pictures. Focus on that. And then when you've done all that, look for a vet school to get her enrolled in. Get a copy of the enrollment paperwork for her at the vet school and include that in her 2-year green card application. Immigration is going to go, wow, look at this. She's enrolled in veterinary school. When I filed for Karina's 2-year green card, Karina's got a college degree in tax accounting. I got the college degree from Venezuela, from the university in Venezuela. I got it adjudicated into an American equivalency. I got it translated into English by a company called The Spanish Group. So I had it translated into English. I had it adjudicated as an equivalency. So I had 3 documents. I had her college degree translated into English, and all of her transcripts adjudicated into US. That went in her 2-year green card application. Immigration opened up her green card package and said, oh, this kid's got a college degree in tax accounting. She's educated. She's a benefit. She's a benefit to the country. Karina's already second time up for employee of the freaking quarter. She won employee of the quarter. That's a big deal to me. I mean, think about it. She can't speak English. She's getting better. She's been working for what? Let me see, about 7-8 months since she got her green card. About 7-8 months. Her first 3 months there, she was nominated for employee of the quarter, but not everybody knew her because you have to vote. It's an election. Everybody has to vote on who they want for employee of the quarter. But now she knows everybody. Everybody loves her. I'm so happy for her. Everybody's happy for her. Let's see here. Nina Balin, great for Karina. Yeah, she's doing great. She's going to be moving up in the ranks. Once she learns English, she'll be getting promoted. In America, you can do anything you want as long as you work hard. Don't come to this country thinking you're going to be denied this or denied that because you're a foreign national. That's not true. That's not true. You're a green card holder. You have the same rights as Americans. I get a little irritated when these immigration attorneys come on TV and say, if you're in the country illegally, you got the same rights as Americans. That's total horse crap. You sneak into my country, the only right you have is a right of return. Okay, let's see here. Elkin Bedoya, understood, sir. Thank you so much. I'll look into your videos to get more information on the process. If she doesn't finish college, though, would they evaluate her credits? Yes. Go to this company right here, SpanishGroup.org. Go to that website, and that company will evaluate college credits, whether they graduate, if you're a beneficiary and you have, let's suppose you went to college for a year, 6 months, 2 years. That company will evaluate those credentials for your beneficiary for the K-1 visa package, for the green card application, etc. Elkin, and does she need to speak English when she applies? To apply for vet school, it's a good idea to speak English so you can understand what the books are. When you go to college in America, you got to be able to for the K-1 visa. Does she need to speak English for the K1 visa? No. You can, when she's in Colombia, right? When you get all the paperwork together for her, she's going to need a police certificate from the Colombian police. She's going to need her birth certificate, original birth certificate. You don't need to translate them into English for the K1 visa interview at the embassy in Bogota. There's no translations required. But when you apply for the 2-year green card, you got to have her birth certificate translated into English. When you applied for the 2-year green card, you don't need to include the police certificates anymore. Okay? The only time you're going to submit police certificates is to the U.S. Embassy or the U.S. Consulate. They do the police checks on the sponsor at the National Visa Center. When my K1 visa package was approved and went to the National Visa Center, the NVC did a police check on me, FBI background check. I don't care, they can do it. Then once that was all completed, they sent the visa package to Bogota, Colombia. When I applied for Karina's 2-year green card with Karina, we didn't have to include the police certificates from Venezuela or Colombia because they already screened her to come into the country. You got it? Elkin, she just started to study the language. That's why I'm asking. Elkin, when your fiance goes to the visa interview in Bogota, the American consulate speaks English and Spanish fluently. She can do the visa interview in Spanish if she doesn't speak English. Karina had her visa interview in Spanish in Bogota. But when you get to the United States, it's a good idea to start learning English. In fact, it's probably mandatory in order to move up. In order for Karina to get promoted in her job, she has to speak English and understand English and read English. In order for Karina to become a U.S. citizen, she's got to be able to speak, read, and understand English. Okay? Anyway, I've been talking a long time. I'll be back. What's today? I don't even know what day it is today. Today's Thursday. I'll be back on Saturday with Karina. And tomorrow is my birthday. Tomorrow's my birthday. I almost forgot. And Karina said, hey, what do you want to do for your birthday? I said, I have never eaten at Zaxby's chicken. I've been living in this town forever, and I've never once eaten at the Zaxby's restaurant. So Karina said, okay, I'll buy you lunch at Zaxby's, which will be tomorrow. But I don't celebrate my birthday because I quit counting days. I quit celebrating my birthday 20 years ago. But it is what it is. And that Elkin gets the last word. Makes sense. Thank you, sir. We will see you. Karina and I will be back on Saturday, 6 p.m. Thanks for the time you spent with me today. I hope you learned something new today. Every time I do a live stream, I want to make sure you learn something new and don't make any mistakes on the paperwork. Okay? See you guys on Saturday.